Brighten up those already bright mornings. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lecter. Mornings at the Cabin.
Mornings at the Cabin. It's Tuesday morning. Taco Tuesday here at Cabin Radio. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lecter with you all morning long. Well, at least for a little bit. Come on down for your tacos. They are 2 cents today.
What?
Don't have 2 cents? That's 5 cents.
What are in these tacos today? This one looks different.
Yeah, no, this one's, I've got cream cheese in this one, and then there's cinnamon and frosting in this one.
That's what that one was.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, that's a bit of a knockout in a taco.
I'd like to remind everybody that I am running for Deputy MLA of the entire city of Yellowknife. I want to be your 20th member of the Legislative Assembly.
Officially endorsed by Ollie Williams.
Thank you very much.
Let's hear that campaign slogan again.
It's time to pick a side.
Yeah.
Also, I'd just like to say, just as part of my platform, the GNWT recently said that they do not have a plan past 2030. I'd like to do one better. I don't have a plan past next week. I'm just I'm gonna fly by the seat of my pants on this one. Sit on the sidelines, wait for someone to get sick, and then slap my hands in chalk and get in there, wrap my arms around that pole, and vault over the top of the Legislative Assembly building. That's what I plan on doing.
Spectacular.
This campaign is going to be cuckoo bananas, and it's all on a taxpayer's dime. That's right.
I could not be more in your corner.
Thank you very much.
Let me tell you that.
Thank you very much. You are sitting literally in my corner right now,
Well,
hovering over my right shoulder.
In the space of a minute, you have given me far more reasons to vote for you than anyone else has come up with.
Well,
so
I
far
have
this
a
election.
platform, Ollie. That's part of it. I have a platform. I plan on dismantling the entire government by 2028.
I don't think it'll take you that long.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm being very, very generous with my time. We could probably get it done by Christmas.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast.
Mornings at the Cabin. Eve, let me blow your mind. If you've never seen Ollie twerk, you just missed it. The visual stuff works great for the morning show. That's right.
I think that would work okay, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
I have twerked on stage. I've told you this story before.
Yes, you have.
Tell it again, Ollie.
Tell it again, Ollie.
I'll give you
I don't know why I do that. It's so
How
insulting
dare
to you, your culture, and where you've come from. Your people have struggled so hard. And for me to mock you and just reduce you to a silly accent is downright beautiful. I don't know what that is. Go ahead. Twerking?
Thanks. So, as I've said before, if you've missed this story, 5 or 6 years ago, went to a comedy club in Toronto. It was very funny until about halfway through when I suddenly realized there was a spotlight descending on me in the middle of the audience. They called me up on stage, made me pretend to be a captive dolphin for the next 5 minutes, and it ended with me being told to twerk.
You have to stop heckling at comedy shows. I've told you this. If you heckle, they're going to pick on you.
Didn't say a word all evening, and the swine still got me. My enduring memory of that whole thing remains the fact that I got down from it at the end, thoroughly, lost all the last shreds of my dignity sort of wafting down alongside me. Sat back down, and they came over at the intermission, and they all said, "Oh, you were great. That was fantastic. Do you want a beer?" It's like, "Yeah, I'd love one. Thanks. It'll be $10."
I was just going to say, that was not dignity wafting next to you. Yeah, no, you have to stop. You have to stop heckling.
Or maybe you weren't
maybe you weren't heckling. You
That's
were just
the thing, yeah.
like reserved.
You were too quiet.
Reserved British laughing. Very good. That kind of thing. That doesn't fly at a
Polite
comedy
golf
club
claps.
either. Yeah, it is. Thank you. Very good. Very good.
Like Bianca Andreescu's mother.
Yes.
You both seen that?
Yeah.
The tiny, tiny little taps. The tiny little claps. My favorite thing about that whole US Open win, and I'm assuming that most people listening must have watched it. If you haven't, just start watching tennis.
Wonderful.
It's just like the whole basketball thing where everybody was like, "Oh, the Raptors winning." How does this game work? As they all gathered around the television, like, everyone watching the US
love.
Open tennis. Is that in or is that out? Why does she love all these people?
Yeah. 15 love. Okay. 30 love. Okay. 40 love.
Deuce
What?
advantage.
Why don't we get 10 points for that last one?
Yeah, it's all a little bit. It's all a little bit crazy. And then you realize that love is because it's French for love, because it looks like a zero as an egg. Anyway, moving on.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
There you go.
Huh. There you go. But, I mean, to stick on that, we were going to
Bianca
talk about
Andreescu's
NASA.
mother. I want to talk about Bianca Andreescu's mother because somebody pointed out she looks like someone playing Bianca Andreescu's mother.
Yeah.
Pretending to be her. she had like there were just these moments where she would be on camera and she looked like she was adjusting her wig. She
wait a second.
Dark glasses.
She may have been though. Like I mean, what if she wears a wig? So what?
Well, she's more than entitled to, but she looked for all the world like Carmen Sandiego.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? She's Bianca Andreescu's mother. That's funny.
But by tennis fan standards, a little polite clap. It's just like, okay.
That's right.
Calm down.
People were
Don't get out
jacked
of
during
hand.
that game. Like, Serena had to stop a few times because people were yelling as she was about, because they want to yell as soon as she hits it, right? Like, as soon as they make a golf drive, everyone's like, get in the hole!
Yeah, you're
People
not
were
supposed to
doing
do
that? Yeah,
you
you're
are
not
not
supposed to do that.
You are not supposed to do that.
They are not supposed to do that. But, like, once she hits the ball, you can exclaim.
No, you
I
can't.
don't
A little
think you're
bit you
supposed
can.
to.
You are
no.
not.
You can
No.
cheer.
Hey, if the players can't scream when they hit the ball,
Oh, did
the
you notice
fans
that too?
can't scream either.
Two generations. Serena's 37, Bianca's 19. Oh, okay. Before I start on this, cannot get over how strong Bianca Andreescu is.
Oh, my
Like,
God.
incredible. But two very different generations. So in the last 5 or 6 years, Tennis Canada, tennis in the States have outlawed the over grunting,
Right?
Because Maria Sharapova does it, Serena Williams does it, so they kind of grant, yeah. So, but I mean, okay, Serena Williams grunts as if she's like, exerting force,
Yeah.
Whereas Maria Sharapova just does this, boo, boo, and I was like, that is not exerting force.
I mean, we all loved Mario Tennis.
That's right.
But
Boo,
come on now.
it's me. Like it's a bit much, and I understand it's like getting in the person's head because it was getting in my head.
Oh,
If
yeah.
I had to hear that over and over again, I'd be just like, just win, just take it. I don't even care anymore. But so those
Can
two.
I please? Can we have Maria Sharapova versus Jessie Wheeler on the tennis
That's right.
court?
That's right. No, I wasn't saying that. I wasn't saying I had
I will-
any business
I
on a
will-
court with Maria Sharapova.
I will pay
I
good
was a
money.
professional tennis player with years of experience at the top level in the world, and I played against that, I'd just be like, nah, I'm good. You know what? Just take it. But two very different generations. So Serena Williams, they grandfathered in this rule, and now that kind of grunting, even Serena Williams grunting, which sounds like natural exertion of force, is
Yeah.
not allowed.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to overly grunt. And Bianca Andreescu is not grunting at all. Like you could hear her kind of like, but not like, "Ah!
Yeah.
Ah!" So,
When did you become the authority on natural grunting?
well, I mean,
you
I feel
can
okay,
tell.
but it's not boo. It's not boo. Or,
Yeah.
"Ah!"
Does it have a scale like hurricanes?
Yeah.
Where it's like sort of from
Yeah.
artificial to natural.
It could.
Serena
yeah.
Williams is a Category 4 grunter.
Okay. Maria Sharapova?
Category 5 pain in the butt. Like, boo.
This is going on the wheel of time for next year. I am going to delete all the references to tennis.
I think she would do the same thing in a fist fight.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be great.
That would be great. That
Oh,
would be awesome.
wow.
Can you imagine a boxer doing that? So that was interesting to watch the two very different generations of tennis, and I mean, and like someone who's 19 versus someone who's 37 has been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
Having that almost the same amount of strength is insane. It also speaks to how training has changed.
Yeah.
For tennis players as well.
Well, and you saw Serena's face, right? I mean, there were points in the second set before Serena managed to rally a little bit.
Yeah.
There were points in the second set where Serena just looked completely lost.
Yeah.
Because she was firing stuff down. With,
Yeah.
like, especially Serena Williams' first serve is considered pretty much unreturnable
Yeah.
on the women's tour. But Bianca Andreescu was just sending it right back. And Serena, you could see sort of watch the ball go by and just kind of break a little bit.
Good Lord.
Like, well,
Yeah.
I don't really know how to deal with
Well, this
that.
is, I mean, this felt more like any the passing of the torch. Like
Yeah.
Serena's done since she last won her Grand Slam, she's done 4. She's 0-4 for the last 4, but she's been for 4 Grand Slams since 2017. She's 37 years old. Like tennis players reach their peak at like 30.
Yeah.
I mean, like, torch passing, hold the phone a little bit. Like,
Torch
we did this.
passed.
We did this last year with Naomi Osaka, just to tennis geek out a little bit. Naomi
Yeah.
Osaka is a Japanese-American, young, about 19, 20 years old as
That's
well. She has, last 2 years, come up with a meteoric rise. She won last year. She defeated Serena Williams. That was a really controversial one, where all the crowd were booing at the end because they thought Serena should have won. It was a big deal. Everybody's like, oh, the torch has been passed Naomi Osaka. Well, she's really struggled since. So we're going to have to see how, as a 19-year-old, do you deal with it all? Because
Fair
if you watched in that second set, there were 3 or 4 games when Serena started to get it together.
Yes.
And for a moment, I thought, oh man, if this goes to a third set, Bianca Andreescu's toast.
But that's Serena summoning the will of 20 years of being an absolute champion and being the greatest at the game. So
but
I mean,
we don't yet know that Bianca Andreescu has that.
You're
True.
right. You're right. She's 19 years old, so maybe not a torch passing, but it felt more of a torch passing than against Osaka, because Osaka felt like Serena should have had that game, whereas against Andreescu, at no point except in that second set did it feel like Serena had any chance of beating Bianca.
Which sport are we going to win stuff in next? Because I feel like Canadians are learning about all these new sports now. We learned about basketball.
Give us an NFL team,
we learned
buddy.
about tennis.
That's right, because we're not winning the Stanley Cup anytime soon.
Maybe we can exchange them.
Yeah,
Do a
that's
trade.
right.
Here's the US.
Here's
you
the
want
Larry
your US
O'Brien
Open
trophy.
back?
That's right.
You want your basketball back? That's great. Give us that cup.
Do you want your U.S. Open trophy back? No, we're good.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast where we cut out all the great music and you're left with the rest.
In the news on cabinradio.ca and also with Ollie's voice twice an hour, goodness sake, a young Yellowknifer is planning on joining NASA's secret shadow government. What are his nefarious plans, and where can I get a tinfoil hat? Official NASA release. Ollie, a little bit more on this story. What's going on?
Yeah,
Aiden Rylett
Interesting kid.
wants to join NASA.
Arrived in one of Sir John Franklin's black helicopters yesterday, which I didn't even know they had.
Yeah.
It's like that sort of sport academy thing. I think
Yeah.
It's just like the different stream. You can either be an athlete or you can be a government spy.
That's where your property
And,
taxes are going, to high-performance spying.
Yeah. Anyway, 17-year-old kid, Sir John Franklin, grade 12. And the cool thing about yesterday was a NASA aircraft broke down.
Yes.
And therefore it couldn't leave, and they had nothing better to do but then open it up and say, right, anybody want to come for a tour? And so a bunch of kids from Sir John got to go around this Gulfstream jet that NASA uses to do climate change research up here. And we got to tag along for that as well. So Sarah went out to this yesterday afternoon, and you can see the photos from this on our website and hear a little bit from Aiden Rylett, who is this 17-year-old kid having a look round. And he was super jazzed about the whole thing because for years it's what he's wanted to do, is work for NASA. So he
Take a look around a broken down NASA plane.
That's right.
Why not, right? Like, it's a captive plane now, and finally, at last, my plans come to fruition.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
And she wasn't allowed to film inside the plane because there were so many secret little things inside of it.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
yeah,
right.
you know those little blue things that Will Smith has, and you bring them out of your jacket, boom, and you forget everything?
Oh, yeah, the memory eraser.
Oh, yeah,
things.
that's right. The Maria Sharapova memory eraser.
Yeah, exactly. Service, return, 15 love. Will Smith leads. 5 games to 4.
Well, at least you love somebody.
Very good.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's really cool. And it's cool for a kid like Aiden because I imagine, I don't know, growing
'Cause
up
he
in
has
Yellowknife,
dreams of world domination.
you probably don't anticipate that you're going to get that many chances to find cornered NASA staff with nothing better to do than tell you how to get a job there. But that's exactly what he had yesterday, including a guy who works at the Jet Propulsion Lab in California, which is exactly where Aiden wants to work. So he got to just hang out with the guy and chat about, like, how do I get there? Well,
Did he
you need to do this,
specifically
this, this.
say he wants to work at the Jet Propulsion
He
Lab?
did.
It's a world-famous propulsion lab.
Wow.
Of all the propulsion labs,
It's
the Jet
the wor-
Propulsion
it's the
Lab
most-
is the propulsiest.
Cream of the crop.
It's the jettiest. It is. Well, I mean, it is the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in where is it?
The Squirrel Propulsion
No,
Lab.
but I mean, there is-
very, very underrated. Those squirrels, they are
jests.
not good at propelling.
He jests, but there are other jet propulsion labs on the planet. This happens to be the most famous one.
This is the best thing I've ever seen you get indignant about. This
I
beats
don't
the
think-
biscuit recipes.
That's right.
That morning where you wouldn't let go of biscuit recipes, that was my favorite. Maybe it's close. It's
I
time.
still haven't perfected that recipe. No, that is very cool. It's cool that he wants to work for NASA. Also, question for I would ask Aiden of this: why do some people pronounce it NASA?
Is what?
I think isn't that the place like NASA? Or isn't
How
that
do you pronounce
NASSAU?
Yeah.
NASA?
No, some people some
NASA?
people in the States pronounce it NASA.
How do you pronounce it?
NASA.
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 Instead of
W.
NASA.
NASA.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
weird.
They can make that
I mean,
sound,
in
though.
fairness, some people in the United States pronounce it nuclear. That's because they're from the United States
That's the
and
president.
there's not a lot going on upstairs. It's not necessarily that it's a different interpretation. You know, there's just such a thing as
Apologies to our American listeners. Ollie Williams' opinions do not reflect those of Cabin Radio or its subsidiaries or the Chinese government.
Yeah, they'll be going nuclear down there listening to this.
That's right.
Did you get a chance to ask Aiden what he thought of the ants that they used to sort tiny screws in space?
I don't believe Sarah had a chance to ask that
Didn't
question.
have a chance. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we may never know.
I mean, he lives in real life. We can bring him in.
That's right. And he got to meet some very cool people. He got to meet a mathematician, a different kind of mathematician, and a statistician.
Scenes from the cabin.
Ooh, wee, you good looking. You hot. It's like looking in a mirror, only not.
Troy?
Now that is between us, okay? But you were in a coma? Nothing like having your face cut off to disturb your sleep. Read the newspaper lately?
You killed them?
Well, beats paying the bills, huh? Come on. I mean, if a facelift costs $5,000, see anything you like?
Tito.
I torched all the evidence that proves you're you, okay? So, wow, looks like you're going to be in here for the next 100 years. Now, I have got to go. I've got a government job to abuse and a lonely wife to... Oh, did I say that? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say something wrong? Make love to? Oh, God, I missed that face.
Die! Die!
Sorry, Agent Archer. No, don't worry, Mr. Walton. Clearly, he's had a traumatic childhood, and thank you.
Scenes from the cabin.
Know the movie? Submit your guest to mailbox@cabinradio.ca or send us a message on Facebook for your chance to win gift certificates to some awesome Yellowknife restaurants, including Zehabesha, the Monkey Tree Pub, the Woodyard Eatery, Copper House Restaurant, and Javaroma. Listen to Cabin Radio every weekday to win, or download the Mornings at the Cabin podcast.
Pink Floyd, Run Like Hell on your Tuesday morning.
I couldn't believe that happened.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Did you catch that listening yesterday? Jesse called the whole show Pink Floyd, Run Like Hell.
Rebranded.
You know what? It makes sense.
It's
I'll
not
stand
bad.
by it.
Yeah.
I'll stand by it. Mornings at the Cabin. Monopoly continues to ruin lives. You know the card, bank error in your favor, and you get $10? That's a nice little card, right? I mean, $10 means literally nothing, even in the crappiest game of Monopoly. $10 is such a terribly low number. However, there was a bank error in the favor of a couple in the States. In Pennsylvania, $120,000 was accidentally deposited in their account. Now, instead of doing the right thing, they spent that money. That's right.
What do you mean instead of doing the right thing?
Returning the money, Lecter.
To who?
To the bank. To the poor bank who's just trying to do business.
The bank gave them that money.
That's right. Accidentally.
Why would you question it?
Well, it's theft.
Banks don't make errors.
That's right. They don't. The banks need our help, all right? These are small mom and pop operations. If you take $120,000 from them, what's next? Giving them $16 trillion so they don't fail? What's next?
So they got arrested.
They did. They got arrested, and it's I don't even know what's going to happen to them. They're going to be in court very, very soon. It doesn't actually say they've been arrested and now face felony theft charges in connection with this incident. Their combined bail was reportedly $50,000.
Come on.
But they had $120,000, so I mean that must have been pretty easy to get bailed out, right?
$50,000.
Yeah, $50,000 for a because it's a felony probably over a certain amount, probably over $100,000 or something like that. So I wanted to ask you guys, how long do you wait before you spend that money? Because everyone's going to spend it, right? If you got $120,000 in your bank account today, how many days do you wait before you're like, okay, the bank would have noticed this by now?
So I think I'd probably check on the internet to see, I wonder if anyone else has ever got into trouble for spending this much money. Oh, wait, there's lots of people who were threatened with jail time.
Yep.
I'll call the bank and give the money.
Mm-hmm. I've had somewhat of the opposite happen. So I've deposited a check.
You arrested the bank?
I arrested the bank for stealing my money.
I didn't know you could do that.
So I deposited a work check, and there was a part of it that was rubbed off. So I deposited like a $1,600 work check.
Okay.
Part of it was rubbed off.
Part of it was rubbed off.
Yeah,
What have you been doing?
It was in my backpack, and part of it got ripped or rubbed off, and it wasn't legible, and I didn't notice. So I put it in there. I deposited $1,600.
Yeah.
It immediately clears. and I don't find out for 10 days that the bank was like, oh, that check was no good. We took it out. I was like, did you plan on telling me about it? And they were like, well, no, we just, like, you should have known that it wasn't good. I was like, why would I know that? Why would I know that a check that I deposited in my bank account wasn't any good unless you told me? So they took the $1,600, and at that point, the $1,600 was the only thing in my bank account at the time. Put that $1,600 in, went grocery shopping, paid my rent, and so they took the $1,600 back, and I was negative $500 in my account, which they charged me for, because once you go into overdraft, they charge you for it. So they charged me the $500 and an overdraft fee.
Yeah.
And I never got that money back. And I never banked with RBC ever again. I mean, not RBC, another one, a blue one, not the blue one, another blue one. No bank in Canada would ever do that. But that's so. I mean, I feel like if I got $120,000 dropped in my account, I would wait 5 days and then I'd spend it. And they'd be like, "You thought you could spend that?" I was like, "Well, I figured you guys would have known that there was $120,000 in my bank account."
Yeah.
I waited 5 days.
I see you're on my side now.
I am on your side.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't seem like you were starting out that way.
Well, I'm pretty easily amenable. I mean, give me a couple.
Jesse, you're not as disagreeable as I once thought you were.
Give me a couple of good points, and I'm like, you know what? You're right.
You're right.
Absolutely.
That's what makes you a good politician.
That's right.
Good deputy MLA.
Absolutely. And as I run for deputy MLA, anything you need done, I don't know. Give me a few bucks.
Give me $120,000.
Give me $120,000.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. I'll make sure we have a plan.
I want to know what they bought before on this little freedom spree before their freedom was taken from them.
Well, and here's the thing. It doesn't really say what they paid off their bills.
How do you arrest people for being responsible?
They paid off their bills and they gave $15,000 to their friends. Also, though,
and the rest to charity.
A race car.
Oh.
A race car. What race car did you buy? And you still had enough for a camper, 2 4-wheelers, a car trailer, and a new SUV. So they bought like a $10,000 Dodge Viper.
Can I humbly suggest to anybody in this situation, in
nothing
future,
you do is humble.
Either A, give the money back, or B, first of all, the very first thing you do is you buy flights to a country that doesn't have an extradition
exactly,
treaty.
non-extradition country.
And then you move all the money out there with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's what Canadian politicians and corporations have been doing for decades.
Vote
keeping
for
their
Wheeler,
money
Deputy MLA.
offshore.
It's my turn.
That's right. It's my turn. It's time to pick a side. I will hide my money on an island in Great Slave Lake.
And they clearly weren't paying attention to that because nothing happened to those people.
That's what you're talking about, right?
That would be a very Jesse Wheeler Deputy MLA thing.
Hide my money offshore somewhere near Devil's Channel.
You know a guy out there?
I know a guy out there that'll keep
his mouth shut.
Like those houseboaters don't have to pay Jack, so as long as I keep the money out there somewhere, we're safe.
Another plan. Draining Yellowknife Bay, completely damming it off, so houseboaters have to pay property tax. This is...
Vote Jesse Beaver.
Jesse Beaver. A damn fine candidate.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast.
Mornings at the Cabin. Wheeler and Ledger with you on your Tuesday morning. That is the last Radiohead song we will ever play on Mornings at the Cabin. I am sick of their esoteric nonsense. No, it's not bad. It's just, sometimes you're just not in the mood for it, And I had it in there, and I was like, maybe. And then I listened to the end of it, and I was like, no, it's fine.
Maybe they should just be banned from the morning show.
No, I'm fine.
I'll suspension.
Be all right. Yeah, no. You know what? We'll just play Creep on repeat. That's what we'll do. That's everyone's favorite
everyone
song.
Everyone can love that one.
Yeah, everybody loves that one.
Yeah.
Tom York especially.
Yeah.
He loves performing it. This morning in disturbing remake news, that's right, new feature here on Mornings at the Cabin. Disturbing remakes or reboots or prequels or sequels. We're working on the song. As we know, remakes and reboots are incredibly popular right now. The top 20 movies last year, one of them was an original piece. The rest of them were based on something, a sequel to something, a prequel to something, or a reboot or remake of something. That's just how it goes.
What was the original one? You never heard of it.
Yeah, you never heard of it. There was one, though. I think there was actually more than one, but in the last 10 years, in the top 20 movies, there's every year there's one or two that's original, and the rest are remakes or reboots.
Yeah.
Anyway, disturbing remake news this morning. A Face Off remake is now in the works. Now, for a lot of these, Lion King, Aladdin, what have you, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that. Remake it for a new generation. There's some stuff that doesn't age particularly well, but how do you remake perfection? I don't understand. One of the greatest movies ever made, the 1997 John Woo epic, Face Off, starring Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. The last time you actually saw John Travolta look like he was having fun in a movie, 1997. And they are fantastic. Lecter has never seen Face Off.
No.
We'll add to the list that is currently on his fridge, which is almost done. I have hundreds of movies to add to that list. This is one of them.
Okay.
Do you know what Face Off is about?
I know the premise.
Stop right there. You do not know the premise.
Okay.
Themes of friendship, brotherhood, sacrifice.
And of course, hockey.
And of course, hockey. No!
Oh.
No, this isn't Sudden Death starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. 1993 also starring Powers Booth. This is Face Off.
Okay.
So, FBI super agent, played by John Travolta, Sean Archer, is on the trail, has been on the trail of Castor Troy, international mercenary and serial killer, played by Nick Cage.
I'm sorry.
Castor Troy.
Castor
Troy, who is aided by his brother Pollux. Come on, man. Know your Roman history.
Pollux.
Or is it Greek history? I don't know. One of those white people histories. So he is on the case. In the opening 12 minutes of this movie, there's a helicopter chase, a plane chase, and a car chase. He kills, or he thinks he kills, Nick Cage's character, Castor Troy, in a wind turbine.
Oh, wow.
Turns out he's just brain dead. That's all. He's brain
That's
dead
it.
in a coma because they want to figure out, right? They have to figure out how to get to his posse, his terrorist group, because there's a bomb in L.A. that they have to figure out within 18 days, which is an odd number to have for a bomb.
And it's planted before the LA Kings game.
No. It's planted at the LA Convention Center 18 days before a group of delegates are planning on being there.
Okay.
So they keep him alive. They bring in John Travolta, who thinks he's dead, and he's just a killjoy. He's a real stick in the mud. And they bring him in and they say, listen, he's still alive. We've got new technology. We want you to swap faces with your mortal enemy.
We can rebuild. No.
Pretty much.
Okay.
This $6 billion man.
Yeah.
We want you to take his face. We want you to undercover and visit his brother in a prison called Air One, which is on an oil rig outside of Los Angeles. With there's so much to go into. So much. So they take off his face, John Travolta's face, Nick Cage's face. They swap.
Right.
They do a little plastic surgery on John Travolta. He's a little bit bigger, right?
Okay.
The heights are negligible, so they're the same height. So they are compatible.
Yes.
Right. So
Okay.
they put Nick Cage's face on John Travolta. John Travolta's face is floating in goo because Nick Cage is dead, brain dead for all intents and purposes. So John Travolta goes undercover in this maximum super secret prison
Okay.
to infiltrate his
Called
gang.
Air One.
That's right.
Okay.
Called Air One. And he does. He figures it out. He fools Pollux, kind of, and infiltrates. So but of course, while he's in prison, something goes wrong. Nicolas Cage wakes up. Castor Troy wakes up without a face.
Ouch.
Calls his gang up, says, get in here. They get the doctor, played by Colm Feore, Canadian actor, and they put John Travolta's face on Nicolas Cage's face.
Why?
So they've swapped.
Did he pay that doctor off?
No,
Oh.
he threatened to kill him, and then he burned everybody,
wow.
including John Travolta's team, the only people on his team that knew what was going on.
Okay.
So now no one knows John Travolta has Nicolas Cage's face on him, so now Nick Cage is playing John Travolta, and John Travolta is playing Nick Cage.
Right.
And they're doing pretty good impersonations of each other.
Okay.
And this is a John Woo movie.
Yeah.
Lots of guns, lots of slow-mo, lots of doves. It's great.
Doves.
Yeah. So that's the premise of the movie. And from there, the chase continues.
Like to be continued.
Well, no.
ends
It's just
on
like,
a-
I mean, the movie goes on from there, but that's the basic premise. I can't give you all of it.
I see.
I can't give you all of it because you have to watch this piece of this masterpiece, John Woo's American breakthrough, Face Off.
One question.
Yes.
When does Wayne Gretzky appear in the movie?
He does not.
So
No
this
Wayne
really
Gretzky.
isn't about hockey.
Not about hockey. It's about face. It's a face-off between two people, but they also take their faces off.
I mean, it just sounds like they scrambled the draw.
Eyes, lips, nose. It's coming off.
Like the gloves.
No, like his face. Face off.
I can't get a handle on this movie.
All right. So they're remaking it, which I have a real problem with. The writer of the Cloverfield Paradox, which none of you watched on Netflix.
No.
And also he wrote the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which none of you will watch on Netflix.
Because his teeth are weird.
But also Neil H. Moritz, best known for the Fast and the Furious franchise, also producing. So, I don't know who they're going to put in this one. All right? Face Off grossed over $250 million 20 years ago. That's a huge amount of money 20 years ago.
No kidding.
So now they're bringing it back. I have a real problem with this. I will continue to speak about this until this remake is produced and it releases in theaters or on Netflix.
I'm looking forward to the hockey part. It's got to come. It has to.
All right. I'm going to tell you something once. This movie's not about hockey, but I will rent you Sudden Death starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Powers Booth. Luke Robitaille's in it. So.
Yeah, that's good enough.
And at one point, Jean-Claude Van Damme takes the net as the Penguins goaltender. I think Jaromir Jagr's in it, too.
Thanks for listening. Check out more from the show at cabinradio.ca and by following the Mornings at the Cabin Facebook page.